when economy is integral to our existence. And as a result of that, anybody who wants to discuss anything that is relevant and is not talking about economy, the person is joking. So, well, we are bringing our guest in today to talk about um, as an economist. Anyway, he will talk about himself when he comes on, but to talk about the economy of Nigeria and possible solutions on how to change situations that Nigerians can now start drinking cold water. So, our viewers, Chinedu Anichi TV, United States of America, Chinedu Anichi TV family in Australia, in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, especially those in Nigeria. We have a guest today by name Anas Saleh, as you can see. And we have our coordinator in the 19 northern states of Nigeria. That is Right Comrade Issa Kawe, and he is here. So we are welcoming Anas Saleh to Chinedu Anichi TV today on the program Arena of Interaction. Issa, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
Okay. Right Comrade Issa Kawe, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, our family. Thank you very much, our Chief Executive Officer, Chinedu Anichi TV. I remain my humble self, Right Comrade Issa Kawel, the coordinator Chinedu Anichi TV in the 19 other states.
Okay. So please, our guest speaker, I want you to do just a brief introduction about yourself, your specialization, and why we're here today.
Okay, thank you once again. Thank you and good evening, listeners. As displayed on the screen, my name is Anas Saleh. I came from Plateau State, born and brought up from the state. I had my early education and post-primary education and also my university in Plateau State. I went to University of Jos where I studied economics, and I just concluded my MSc in economics with specialization in development economics. Uh, I found this topic very, very interesting because it forms the crux of the matter in the country as we are battling to see how we can actually revive the economy. This is a very good platform where we can share our views on how to lift the economy or set it on the wheels of progress. So I think I would like to applaud the organizers of this show for coming up with this wonderful topic when the country is needing kind of things and suggestions for us to better the situations. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So, based on what our economy is, you see what is going on. It did not start today because we don't need to sound immodest. So, that Nigeria, the hardship Nigeria is experiencing today, or a nosediving when it comes to economy, did not start today. Because by history, I know there was a time that naira was equivalent to pounds. When they say 1 naira, it was equivalent to 1 pound. So the nosediving of our economy did not start today, and the historical trend of this kind of nosediving is not what we're going to be concerned with. But we are going to deal with the circumstances of which we have found ourselves now. So I will come by asking you, what do you think is wrong with Nigerian economy?
Okay, to be very honest, and as a development economist, I think there are the key factor that contributes to this situation that we are in is that the country has been politicizing the economy of the country. They've been joking with the economy. Because some of the things they normally do, you would even wonder whether we have professors of economics in the country. how could you be borrowing money, lots of money, it never happened anywhere. So I think the major cause of this hardship or quagmire that we're in is that the political atmosphere that we found ourselves. Each administration come and tactics to to do things the way they want without even looking back at the consequences of their actions. So the major cause is that there is an issue inherent in our political system, and unless and until this issue is being addressed and we decide to treat our economy as an independent unit, we will never get it right. So I think the first factor is the political factor, which consists of corruption and lack of accountability and so many other things. If you look at the history of Nigeria right from independence, you get to see that there are series of there are trend of economic highs and lows, but the situation gets worse when Nigeria shifts into from military regime to civilian regime, 1999 or thereabout. And ever since then, we've been piling up debt, and naira has been losing its value year in, year out. And inflation is always on the increase. So it's actually it can be actually attributed to the political factor. So I think the major issue here is the political.
Okay. If the political factor is the issue, what are because what we do in this platform is not only just to cry and bring out problems, but we try to, as an economist, which I know you are fresh baked from the oven of economic of ideologies that has to do with this very um, recent economic ideas that can change situations economically. So I would want you to say one or two things. This political factor, what do we do to change the narrative and see how our economy can be better?
Okay, I think the first thing to do is let there be no bias in terms of appointing or selecting who is going to man the affairs of the economy. By the time we begin to polarize the position, that's when we get to have issues. Well, definitely, the world see that this social person has all the capabilities and has a track record to shift the economy to a certain stage. He should be given the mandate to do the work. uh, I think Mr. Chinedu, sometimes in 2007, 2008, we had Vision 2020, which, of course, part of the vision was to alleviate poverty, to bring about high employment rates, to bring about economic growth and all of that. That vision was aimed to achieve by the year 2020. But then none of the objectives came into fruition because we seems to have an issue with lack of continuity of governance. A policy might be orchestrated today, and when next administration comes, they will dust off, come up with a different policy that might counter the policy that were enacted, which presumably they might contribute to the growth of the economy. So I think the first thing to address is let there be a very impartial system of selecting people that are going to man the economy, and forming the economic committee or economic reform team should not be based on political background. It should be based on experience, and it should be based on competencies as well. And secondly, let there be continuity of governance. If an administration, if a succeeding administration perceived policies that were enacted by previous administration to be good, I think there is no. It's not going to be wrong if we continue with it and see the policies go through its gestation period and hopefully achieve what it to achieve. So if we have a continuity in the system, I think we will not have issues. I think when this administration came into power, there was an empower skill, but there are a lot of corruption in it, and so that's the issue we are talking about, right? We're trying to alleviate poverty by giving subsidies, by giving grants to the populace, but then corruption is inherent in the system. So I think shrugging the system entirely is not a good idea, but looking into the system and trying to identify the loopholes is also very, very important. So if this issue is being addressed, let there be no polarization of positions of those who are going to man the affairs of the economy, and let there be continuity of governance. Let us set a target and see. Let there be a law that if a policy is being enacted and is perceived to be good, so let no administration put a halt to it, no matter what. So the policy should be around, should be allowed to run through the years it is expected to run, and see to its progress as well. So if these things have been addressed, I think will definitely set the economy on the wheels of progress.
Okay, there's this very, very, I don't even know what the word to use, very famous or notorious, any of the one, depending on where you're watching it from. So, but this word is what I mean. There is a particular slogan that is known, and a lot of things have been attached to it. So, I want to bring it out and see how you, as an economist, feel about it. The issue of subsidy and removal of subsidy. How does it affect Nigerian economy?
Okay. Uh, this subsidy has been a very even in the cycle of the academics. I think we've been drilled so many times to give our contributions on what we think the subsidy, the impact, or so many things around the subsidy. But then, what I strongly believe is that if if subsidy was a problem, I think removing it is an injury to all. So removing the subsidy, I think, is a very good idea, but it has been done in a wrong time. To be very honest, uh, our president is not supposed to flippantly remove the subsidy on the first day of his office. At least he should enter the office, go through the documents, see where the problem is, and make consultations and bring out some policies or some palliatives that are going to cushion the effects of the subsidy. And first set it up, set the palliatives running. He's talking about the CNG buses. He's talking about 10,000 tricycles. He's talking about increasing the minimum wage. I think those things supposed to be done first before removing the subsidy. When you put all these things in place, I think even if you remove the subsidy, nobody will feel the impact. But now, on the day you announce that subsidy is gone, people with old stock started to increase the prices of their goods. So fuel became very scarce, mobility very difficult, goods are sold at exorbitant rates, and we no longer have control of our economy. So, because of the error of removing the subsidy on the first day, at least he has 4 years to think and do whatever he wants to do with the subsidy, not on the first day of his assumption as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So subsidy, definitely subsidy, removing the subsidy is a very good idea because they feel benefits from it. And there are a lot of cabals around the cycles, and Nigerians need to be sensitized on the need to remove the subsidy. But then removing it on the first day is a very, very wrong move. I think those things that he's now trying to bring them in should have been in place before removing the subsidy. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's wonderful. I think let me say something. This increase or devaluation of naira, I don't like coming from the negative. You see, because the dollar is a dollar to naira now is in 1,000 and some fraction. You understand? So, what do you think? Is it just the subsidy that is doing this, or there are other economic factors that create room for this kind of increase and in dollar rate and the devaluation of naira?
Uh, there are so many other factors that contributed to the rise in dollar against naira. I think one of the major factors is that Nigeria has been a consuming nations. We virtually import everything we consume in the country. We don't know the effects of it until now that the dollar is always rising against naira. Because yes, of course, you need dollar to trade in so many things. You need dollar if you're traveling abroad. If you're going to the US, you need dollar to keep yourself and all of that. So dollar has been a most sought after currency by Nigerians, based on the fact that we've actually believed that anything that is foreign is more valuable to us than what we produce in the country. So dollar will continue to rise until and unless we come back to our senses and decide to grow what we need and and buy or consume what we are producing. I think Nigeria needs a very radical leader, seriously, that will shut down all the borders of the country, like what the China did. China got her independence, freedom, and all of that from the international market by shutting down its borders. They produce what they want and they produce what they consume. Nothing is going to be imported. We have all the resources, we have all the natural resources that you can think of a country should have. We have the rivers, we have the good atmosphere, we have the fertile land for agriculture, we have the mineral resources. So why not we just shut everything, bring ourselves down or backward a little bit, and try to see um, where we're going to kickstart the economy. So I think it's high time that Nigeria should start thinking of assembling cars. Let us buy the Innocent brand. In order to rise or make Naira appreciate against Naira, we should cut or limit virtually consuming anything that is coming from abroad. That's the only way we're going to make the Naira strong, stronger than the dollar. So Nigerians need to know that entrepreneurship is the key, actually, because government alone cannot do all these things. We need the brilliant and the capable hands. Government needs to give them support. Need to give them an enabling environment to do that. So if we don't produce, definitely we'll be buying from abroad, and you know what happened to the currency. There is what we call BOP, balance of payments. Whenever your export is always greater than your import, sorry, whenever your import is greater than your export, definitely you're going to have an unfavorable economic conditions. And that unfavorable economic condition is, we are talking about the foreign exchange, because you need the foreign currency to trade with. And for you to lure investors into your country, sometimes you need to devalue your currency. And anytime you're playing with your currency, you're playing with the fate of your country. So the situation has been has been performed years before now. Economists, professors, and Captain on Industry has been saying this, but we don't see to it as a very serious case until now that Naira was almost gotten to 2,000 per dollar. That the outcry is loud, and the need to control the situation became very paramount. So all these measures that the central bank are putting in place, I really think they are temporary in the sense that until the government decides that some um, some parts of the goods that we're producing must be purchased and must only be consumed with no rival, no competition, must be locally made, and consumed in Nigeria. So I think that's the only way we're going to rise the value of naira against the dollar. That's all.
Okay, that's wonderful. So, do you think that this harsh economic situation is part of what is increasing what they call the brain drain, like massive Japa syndrome, because everybody is trying to leave the country? So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, seriously, it can be